Time now for Trivia Tracks with yours truly, Price Robertson. Heard weekdays on Everybody's Country, Y95. Sponsored by Beth Smith and Edward Jones and ProMed Ambulance Services. Known for his roles in such classic movies as The Ten Commandments and The King and I, Yul Brynner will become perhaps best known for his shaved head, which he maintained as a personal trademark long after adopting it for The King and I. Considered one of the first Russian-American film stars, he was honored by the ceremony to put his handprints in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood in 1956. It also received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1960. He was born Yul Brynner in the Russian city of Vladivostok on July 11, 1920. He had Russian, Swiss German, Buryat or Mongol, and purported Roma ancestry. However, later in life, Brynner humorously enjoyed telling tall tales and exaggerating his background and early life for the press, claiming that he was born Tajid Khan of a Mongol father and Roma mother on the Russian island of Sakhalin. He occasionally referred to himself as Julius Brynner, Jules Brynner, or Yul Brynner. That's Y-O-U-L. The 1989 biography by his son, Rock Brynner, clarified some of these issues. In his youth, after being abandoned by his father, who was forced to renounce his Swiss citizenship after the formation of the Soviet Union, he traveled to China with his mother and sister and was schooled there at a YMCA until 1934, when the family moved to Paris, where Brynner gained fluency in French, later serving as a radio announcer in that language. Neglecting his school studies, Brynner preferred to play the guitar in Parisian nightclubs. Trying his hand at modeling in his 20s, he moved to America in 1941 and pursued an acting career, appearing on stage in such plays as The Twelfth Night, The Moonvine, and Lute Song, the latter opposite Mary Barton. He also worked in television during its infancy, at one point becoming a television director at CBS. In 1949, he landed his first film role, and his first leading film role as a drug smuggler in the film Wire, Port of New York. From there, Brynner would go on to star in over 40 movies, including the aforementioned The Ten Commandments and The King and I, the latter of which he starred in a successful stage version as well, spanning 4,625 performances, plus The Magnificent Seven, and the first of its three sequels, Return of the Seven and Westworld, in which he played the android gunslinger, in all-black clothing, similar to his role in the Magnificent Seven series. In addition to his film credits, he also worked as a photographer and was the author of several books. As early as 1943, Brynner, though a naturalized U.S. citizen, renounced his American citizenship. In 1965, he lost his tax exemption as an American resident working abroad. He had stayed too long in the U.S., meaning he would be bankrupted by his tax and penalty debts imposed by the IRS. The first of his four marriages was to actress Virginia Gilmore. The couple divorced in 1960. In 1972, he was given his only TV series, the sitcom Anna and the King, based on The King and I, on which he reprised his most famous role, but the show was canceled mid-season. In September 1983, Brynner suffered a sore throat. His voice changed, and doctors found a lump on his vocal cords. In Los Angeles, only hours before his 4,000th performance in The King and I, he received the test results indicating that he had inoperable lung cancer, while his throat was unaffected. Brynner had begun smoking heavily at age 12. Although he had quit in 1971, his promotional photos often still showed him with a cigarette in hand or a cigar in his mouth. In early 1985, The King and I gave its last Broadway performance. At the same time, Brynner gave an interview with Good Morning America, discussing the dangers of smoking and expressing his desire to make an anti-smoking commercial, which came to fruition shortly after Brynner's death, on October 10, 1985, at the age of 65. Here is that public service announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, the late Yul Brynner.
I really wanted to make a commercial when I discovered that I was that sick and my time was so limited. I wanted to make that commercial that says simply, now that I'm gone, I tell you, don't smoke. Whatever you do, just don't smoke. If I could take back that smoking, we wouldn't be talking about any cancer. I'm convinced of that.